The Crescent Palms Hotel towers over Old Orleans Street, like a mausoleum repurposed for cocktail parties. 16 stories of soot-blackened brick, gargoyles with chipped noses, and bay windows dimly lit by chandeliers that haven't been dusted since Eisenhower. No chain ever bought the place because rumour said it was structurally haunted, a phrase that made insurance actuaries laugh until they saw the claims history. 6 unexplained deaths, 1 suite, room 666. The police reports read like fever dreams. In 2010, a travelling salesman was found cross-hatched with thousands of razor-thin cuts. No weapon, no signs of forced entry. In 2012, a bank auditor was found suffocated, his lungs filled with salt water in a room nowhere near the coast. In 2015, a newlywed bride was discovered crystallized. Her blood was flash frozen into ruby shards. 2017, a thrill-seeker live-streamed a séance where viewers watched his veins turn black before the feed cut to static faces. In 2020, a paranormal podcast duo strangled each other simultaneously. The autopsy found burn marks on their tongues. And finally, in 2023, a maintenance worker entered for a leaky ceiling call. He emerged 5 minutes later, blind, screaming, with his hands fused to his own skull. He hasn't spoken since. Corporate sealed room 66 and slapped a no admittance sign on it. But bricks and plywood only fatten an urban legend. By summer of 2024, the Crescent Palms filed Chapter 11. Desperate for headlines that didn't involve ghosts. That's when my editor dangled the one story that no outlet could land. Spend 1 full night in room 666. Record everything. Bring back copy or die trying. The pay? $5,000, and a byline big enough to slice through the layoff budget. Deal with the devil? Sign me up. My name is Jeff Arquette, once a war correspondent, and now bottom-rung feature writer, dangling from the recession. I've reported from rocket-scarred towns. One antique hotel room shouldn't kill me. The Crescent lobby smelled of jasmine and radiator steam. A lounge singer crooned to 3 drunk conventioneers, while ceiling fans ticked like metronomes. The desk clerk, Keith, mid-20s, his hair parted with T-square precision, looked relieved when I asked for key 666. "Corporate doesn't allow guests up there," he whispered, sliding an embossed waiver across marble. I scanned through. The management is not liable for supernatural injury, emotional distress, or soul loss. I scrawled my signature. Keith produced a tarnished brass key, its tag stamped with a sly devil face. "Elevators out. You'll need the freight lift." Freight lifts are my comfort zone. They smell of honest grease and carry no illusions of grandeur. But this one groaned so pitifully, you'd swear each floor was a personal betrayal. Eventually, I reached floor 6. The lift cage slammed open to a corridor lit by a single Edison bulb, swaying in an unseen draft. All other light fixtures were dark, as if the wiring had been ripped out. Wallpaper sagged in moist sheets, patterned with a fleur-de-lis. A hotel Bible lay face down in the hall, its pages ripped into spirals. Not ominous at all. Room 666 waited beyond a warped fire door, isolated like a quarantine ward. Its brass numeral plate looked innocent enough, although it seemed to shimmer when you weren't looking directly at it. Must be my eyes playing tricks on me. The key fit the lock with a sigh. I stepped inside, and the hallway bulbs sputtered out behind me. There was no phone reception, and the Wi-Fi was dead. I unpacked a small arsenal. 4 tripod cameras, infrared, night vision, EMF stabilized, digital audio recorders, environmental sensors, and a GoPro strapped to my chest. Years covering firefights taught me redundancy is salvation. I had a look at the room layout. There was a parlour with bay windows overlooking the river, a queen bed chamber, a bathroom with a clawfoot tub. The decor was dated. Crimson wallpaper flocked with black ivy, and a chandelier crusted in dead flies. I looked at the temperature reading. 54 degrees Fahrenheit. 14 degrees cooler than the hallway. Humidity was 87%. The air tasted of old pennies. I spoke into camera 1. 9:30. Environment baseline recorded. No visible anomalies. Yet, I felt an undercurrent. Like standing beside an idling generator, humming sub-audible notes. I opened the minibar. Every bottle label was blank white. Mini vodkas smelled of lavender. I passed. I needed a sober mind. At 10 p.m. sharp, I began the mirror test, an old parapsychology trick. Folklore claims that malevolent entities use reflective surfaces as portals and will communicate if you offer a question and 60 seconds of silence. I placed a handheld mirror on the writing desk, faced away so I could record its surface without watching it directly. I asked a question. Who died here first? The timer counted down. 60, 59. I could hear breaths loud in my ears. 15, 14. At 0, the mirror fogged. On the far side of the glass, impossible. Letters emerged backwards in trembling condensation. Find me. Scout's honour, I've never sprinted for a lamp so fast. But when light flooded the desk, the letters remained, droplets rolling uphill to reform the words "find me" again. My camera caught it. The timestamp was 10:01. I felt equal parts terror and giddy journalistic greed. Proof sells. Footsteps thudded above the ceiling. Pace, pace, stop. The problem was that the room sits under rooftop iron, not another suite. The pacing circled, dislodging dust flakes that floated like grey snow. I radio checked my own nerve, then flicked on the EMF reader. The needle spiked to red. At midnight, the room changed tempo. The chandelier flicked alive, the bulbs waxing amber, although no power trace registered on the meters. Shadows lengthened against natural geometry. The door frames tilted, their corners deepened. Camera 2 pinged motion by the bathroom. I pivoted my head cam. The closed bathroom door now glowed red beneath the frame, as if someone filmed in there with a hellish floodlight. 3 polite knocks sounded from inside. Could be the pipes, if pipes count politely. I steadied my mag light and stepped closer. Keith, you messing with me? The knocks repeated, now on the parlour walls, the wardrobe, the floor underfoot, all triangulating towards the bed, where the coverlet bulged with a shape the size of a curled dog. My arm hair rose on command. The bulge rippled away, vanishing under pillows. The sheet prints flattened. Static hiss invaded every camera feed. And then, quiet. Too quiet. There was no traffic hum, no lobby jazz. I realized I wasn't hearing through my ears anymore. I was listening through the floor, the furniture, the bones in my wrists. A presence draped the atmosphere. A whisper swarmed from every electronic speaker simultaneously. My lapel mic, my laptop, my phone.
We've been watching you since before you were born.
Any skeptic would call that a parlor trick. But the voice wasn't processed audio. It was my own voice, pitch shifted downward, as though the room mouth puppeted my recorded commentary. I swallowed fear and pressed the intercom switch and asked, "Why the deaths?" The reply warped out.
Deaths. Gifts.
My body moved before courage agreed. I pushed open the bathroom door. The tile glowed under a red bulb that hadn't existed before. The tub curtain bulged with that same hidden shape. I pulled it aside. Nothing but clawfoot porcelain full of dark water. I looked in the reflection. It wasn't me. Someone in 1920s attire, their face blurred and their eyes glassy. The figure reached from the reflection towards the surface. A wet hand breached into real air. Fight or flight misfired within me. I hurled the camera into the tub. It struck water like stone smashing gel. And both figures, hand and reflection, shattered into ripples. Sirens wailed outside from my laptop speaker. On the screen, there were flashes of static silhouettes in corrupted frames of my own live feed. They choreographed violent pantomimes. Throats being slit, wrists being cut, heads being twisted, lungs drowned. The 6 known deaths repeating in loop while captions scrolled. Turn around. Open the wardrobe. Turn around. We keep what we kill. I tried to turn the laptop off, but the screen stayed on. Its brightness increasing until white burned my eyes. The room doused itself into strobing darkness, the only light being that from my blinding screen. My retinas throbbed. The bathroom doorway stretched, literally elongated, into a stone passage lined with crimson sconces. Impossible architecture, like a set piece extruded from Gothic nightmares. My senses screamed. The temperature drops to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. The barometer plunged. If I didn't explore further, I'd lose the story. So, I stepped into the hallway that shouldn't exist. The corridor curved downward, torches igniting ahead of each footstep. Paintings lined the walls, all portraits of me, but in eras I never lived. Jeff as a Victorian mourner, a World War II doctor, a 1970s disco jiver. Each canvas captured me mid-death, a scalpel across the throat, water bursting from their lungs, shards of mirror piercing eyes. A plaque below one read, Jeff Arquette, died 1960, Suite 666. At the hall's end, an ornate door awaited. Black marble veined gold, same as the seance footage freeze frame that made the news. Its iron ring handle glowed like embers. Carved above, Prima specula, Latin for first mirror. I realised the 6 deaths were sacrifices to keep whatever lay beyond. By entering, I'd volunteered for the 7th. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Break the glass, not the seal. No time for cryptic messages. I pushed open the marble door. A giant chamber stretched. The floor was lost in shadow. Hundreds of antique mirrors hung mid-air, suspended by invisible threads. They rotated, reflecting endless iterations of the chamber. Some mirrors were cracked, matching police reports of shards. In the centre, a wooden cradle rocked itself. Inside lay the faint shape of an infant, moulded from ash. The cradle creaked a lullaby across eternity. My chest ached with unnamed grief. I heard footsteps. Were they mine? No, they were behind me. I spun the camera around. A figure identical to me stepped from a mirror, except his eyes were charcoal voids. He smiled, his lips splitting from ear to ear. Shadow Jeff whispered,
I need to be born. Give me your place.
The mirrors shook like restless skeletons. Every reflection birthed a doppelganger, each one stepping out from beyond the glass into reality. Hungry shadows wearing my face at different ages. I rifled through my satchel. I had a flare, a Swiss Army knife, spare batteries, and the small hand mirror from before. I remembered the text. Break the glass, not the seal. The seal was likely the marble door, the glass being the portals. I positioned myself at the cradle and brandished the hand mirror. Shadow Jeff lunged. I twisted, forcing his face into his own reflection. The two surfaces merged with a hiss. He sucked back inside, the mirror surface sealing smooth. But to my horror, dozens more advanced. I was desperate. I hurled flashlight beams to blind them, one hand smashing mirrors with a tripod leg. Each break vacuumed its twin inside. Soon, shards littered the floor like razor snow. But more doppelgangers replaced shattered portals by crawling out of new broken pieces. Self-inflicted duplications. Breaking glass alone multiplied the threat. The cradle's infant pulsed a faint red, its body made of ash and shattered mirror dust. This was the core. The meta-mirror giving life to clones. Destroy that and disrupt the chain. I swung the tripod, smashing the cradle rails. The ash baby wailed, a sound like all dial tones at once. Shadows convulsed, and the walls rippled. A tsunami of reflections rushed me. I yanked the flare cap and struck the ignition. White-hot magnesium detonated. All of a sudden, light bathed me in all directions, mirrors reflecting infinite suns. Shadows evaporated in shrieks of steam. I plunged the flare into the ash infant. Fire raced through the cradle, igniting the whole chamber in silver wildfire, travelling mirror to mirror like data down fibre. The chamber began collapsing, mirrors shattering under their own heat, shards dissolving to light. I dashed for the marble door. It slammed, its seal intact. I reached the threshold of room 666. just as the floor rippled back from stone to wallpaper. The corridor vanished, replaced by the mundane bathroom. My environmental sensor beeped normal. 68 degrees Fahrenheit, humidity 50%. Sunlight seeped under the curtains. It was 6:06 a.m. I staggered into the hallway. The 6th floor bulbs glowed a friendly yellow, the wallpaper crisp. There was no Bible in the gutter. The freight lift dinged as if serviced overnight. I descended. Keith watched me from across the lobby, his eyes saucer wide. We had a power surge at 1 a.m. The whole hotel flickered. What happened? I placed the devil-tagged key on the counter. Room's clear now. He swallowed. You're the first to check out alive. He hesitated. Then, will you tell them to demolish it? I'll tell the truth, I said. You'll want to salt the earth, though. Back at the newsroom, I reviewed the footage. All of my camera feeds contained only static after 11 p.m. My handheld mirror video, gone. Audio recorders hissed white noise that made my nose bleed after 15 seconds. My editor called it unusable. I published the story anyway, without any physical proof, unfortunately. I stripped out most of the supernatural occurrences, but I had to tell people. Unsurprisingly, it was met with derision and ridicule. But I knew what I saw. But something crossed over. At home, my bathroom mirror fogs at dawn, with letters reversing on steam. 7 breaths left. Every day, the count decreases. Yesterday, it read 6. I smashed the mirror and replaced it. Today's new mirror read 5. I won't replace them anymore. Nightly, I dream of an ash cradle rocking alone, waiting for rebirth. I suspect that room 666 isn't a place, but a virus. Code written in glass and reflection. I fear that I'm now patient 0 outside the hotel. I unplug all of my screens now, even covering shiny objects and living by candlelight. Shadows still shape my face on the walls. When the count hits 0, I fear that something will crawl through, wearing me like a glove. So I write this not as a warning, but a confession. If you see me, Jeff Arquette, tomorrow or next week, please check my eyes. If they look like polished coal, if my smile splits too wide, smash every mirror in view. Because I escaped room 666, but now it may forever be a part of me. Macabre Horror here. I hope you enjoyed this horror story from a very talented author. Thanks so much for listening and supporting the channel. I'd appreciate if you could leave a comment below, as I love to hear from you all, and I'd appreciate if you can like and share, as that really helps as well. If you want more scary stories, check out the video or the playlist on screen.